Lightning like Steve McQueen, I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit, cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly, better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder, and I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. What do I mean by that? I mean, I only speak to transportation professionals. This show, my twice-a-week long-form podcast, it's only people who are active in the transportation industry, you guys, so we can put the right information out there that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life, and put the right information out there from the people who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. It's one of the many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. Got a solo show today and tomorrow, but then I'm out on the road. I'm actually out in Orlando, Florida, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for the TIA convention. If you're out there, say hi. You'll see me. I'll be in the signature orange as always, and I'll be doing my show with some guests out there as well, just to talk about current events on everything else, you guys, how to navigate through this stuff, and most importantly, how do we continue to evolve and show up for our current customers. Other than that, before we get into anything else, you guys, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers. And the best part about what VHub has to offer is you get paid to move these. That's right. If you're an owner-op or a small fleet, you'll never have to shut your operation down because your trailer's in the shop. You can jump on VHub and get paid to do it on top of the revenue that you can get by loading that trailer out. So what they got West Valley City, Utah, going to Calgary, Alberta, and you get $1,550 to move that. They also have 150 dry vans down in Paragould, Arkansas, needing to get up to Mississauga, Ontario. So you can create a drop trailer pool at your customers' facilities now, and you can offer that because they don't just have to pick up freight in Paragould. You can bring them over to Louisville, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, wherever that is. Drop those trailers there. It just has to finish up in Mississauga, Ontario, and you get 1,000 Canadian to do that. And then finally, they also have Dallas, Texas, going to Long Sault, Ontario for $750 US. So hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. My friends Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they'll be in the audience. Just do me a favor. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Tracy St. Clair watching over on YouTube. Good morning. Whitney Young in the house. Good to see you, brother. He's got that American flag going. Good morning, Freight World. Keep the rubber down and rolling. I love it. Thanks for tuning in, Whitney. Sonny Sharma, good fucking morning, Orange Shirt Gang from Orlando. Let's fucking go. Sonny, I get in tomorrow night at like 10 o'clock, man. So I'll see you on Wednesday for sure. Devon Hamilton, great morning. Thanks for tuning in. Zach Williams, good morning, brother. He's with SPI Logistics, you guys. Want to become a freight agent and take control of your financial future? Hit up my man, Zach. David Fry, happy Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Zach Lonergan, what is up, my dude? Good Monday morning. Shoot him a DM if you need trailers. You guys, Zach's with VHub as well. All right. So we're going to do, I'm going to break down talking about the realities of getting customers right now, because, I see posts like this literally every single day. And it's one of those things that, I am out here actively building up my brokerage, right? Like I'm in the day-to-day with you guys. I'm building mine. And really what I'm seeing out there is there's not a hesitancy to onboard new providers right now at all. What I'm getting more and more of is there's just not a lot of opportunity for new providers, right? Because I think these last couple of years, a lot of people who showed up for customers throughout the bottom, the cataclysmic rise and then the cataclysmic fall of the freight market, they know what providers stuck with them the entire time, didn't take advantage of certain situations and continue to show up. So they're out there right now rewarding them with the business that they do have. Now, what I'm seeing is some of the prospects that I have been going after for the last 4 or 5 months, I'm starting to get more traction from them right now. I'm starting to get more and more real feedback on where things are going and where things are coming, because, it's, again, reading your prospects, what they're telling you, because, I mean, frankly, they are literally telling you everything you need to know about how to work with them. So, for me, it is following that. And then I think after because like I talk about this frequently, prospecting and selling is always going to be the easy part, right? Like, no matter what, prospecting and selling is going to be the easy part, because the real work will always start the second you get that bill of lading sent over to you, the second you got to organize that truck to come in and show up, and making sure everything goes according to how you've really been selling yourself for the last 4 or 5 months, or whatever that looks like. So again, it's like one of the core values inside of Freight Coach Logistics is one truck at a time. That's our thing. We focus on everything one truck at a time. We had a bunch of stuff delivering today, project-based freight and everything. And again, it's one truckload at a time. And that's our real focus as we're going out there. And there's a lot of value in how things are going in the market right now from a customer onboarding perspective. Because if you're out there strategically selling on there, now it's not, like, there's a lot of value in, hey, you're getting in the door with somebody. Now you can get a feel for how things go, because not everything's going to be perfect, right? Like, things are going to change. There's going to be delays. There's going to be loads canceled. There's going to be, things are going to happen. So you have to look at this as an opportunity to really build out your SOPs and build out how you can, frankly, get better, right? Like, I view every single opportunity to this day. Like, again, I know I jokingly say I've only done 3 full truckloads in my career, but you guys, I mean, I've been directly involved in trucking for 15 years now. And for the last 12 have all been in brokerage. And for me personally, there's a ton of value right now in, hey, every single time something happens, what's our checks and balance to minimize it from happening again? And then how does that affect your sales pitch? For me personally, that makes you more appealing in how you're prospecting customers, because customers know, right? They know not everything's going to be sunshine and gumdrops and everything else. They understand that things happen. And when you can put a sales pitch out there, kind of telling the whole story, I think you're going to have a different conversation with people. I think you're going to have a faster track to getting in the door with some of these shippers, because I think a lot of people rely, and I say this because, I got friends who are shipping managers, and even back in the day, they would tell you, your customers would tell you about your competition, and it's always been price, right? Like, everybody always wants to sell on, I can save you some money, or I have trucks in your area and stuff like that. And it doesn't work for everybody at scale. I think that, especially in this freight market, and I know I've been talking about the niche for the last 3 years, literally, but that's where we are right now. I think that's where you're going to find the greatest, it will really in any freight market, but especially right now, they want subject matter experts to speak with. The days of the general, we'll do everything, give us everything, we're the best at everything. I don't think, like, I can't say it's not going to work for some, but at scale, I don't see it working. I truly don't. As a sales rep, you need to go out there and carve out your niche, carve out what you want to do, and then become the fucking undeniable best at that niche. And you'll be able to separate yourself if you commit to it. If you commit to that for at least 6 months, I would all but guarantee you will have more freight after that 6-month period than you ever would if you continue down this same path that you're on. So I personally think that's what I'm going to continue to do. That's where I found the most success in the industry. And that's what I'm going to continue to preach day in and day out with this, because that's the reality of the freight market that we're in. Again, and I've been saying this since fucking like October, my gut is it's a second half spot market recovery. Who knows what that's going to look like? It could be in October. I don't know, but I think, like, what do you do right now? If you're out there spraying and praying, fucking refine it and go after a certain thing and do that for the next 6 months. And I guarantee you're going to have more of a return on it. So that's my little spiel this morning on the realities of building your book of business right now. Vitaly, what is up? He's bridging our American and Canadian relations every single day. April Maroney, good fucking morning. I will see you in Orlando. I love it. Looking forward to meeting you, April. April's been like a mainstay on this show for a long time. She keeps tuning in. I love it. Thank you. Malia August, good morning. Josh Holtum, thank you, sir. I went to the barber this weekend, got all lined up and everything. Dude, you got to find yourself a good barber, man. There's just a lot to be said about going into the same barber, shooting the shit and stuff. I like it. All right. So we're going to break down some industry headlines here. As always, you guys, the links to all of these articles will be put up on YouTube as well as iTunes and Spotify directly after the show. All the links will be put up there. That way you guys can check them out and definitely read these on your own. Again, I want to put this information out there and then, give you guys my perspective, but also go out there and do this your own. And then, if you guys do go over to those other platforms to check this show out, do your boy a solid. Subscribe, rank the show, share the show. That's how we get it out there. That's how we are the top podcast in transportation, is because in each and every one of you. I had my friend Tyler Robertson send me this last week, and I'm really glad he did, because in a time of headlines that are geared out there about how bad things are, this one is based on a 31-year-old woman who started her trucking business with no money and made $1.4 million 1 year later. And here's how she did it. This article is from MSN. It looks like it's through Business Insider. I'm not sure though. I'll put the link over there for you guys. It was never Brittany Taylor's dream to become a truck driver. After seeing her uncle do it, she took classes and became a driver. He started posting a lot of great pictures on Facebook and sharing his experiences with me. And that's when I wanted a piece of that. She was an open deck driver, hauling a lot of construction equipment, but through COVID and all of that, those loads became less reliable. After driving for 5 years, is it Trailer? Yeah, it is Trailer. I'm sorry, Brittany Trailer took online classes to become a licensed broker, a role in trucking. Obviously, we all know what a broker is. And last year, she generated $1.4 million in revenue, which Insider verified with documentation through Trailer Transpo. She was able to create opportunities for others, a component of entrepreneurship that's important to her. I grew up in the foster system and I didn't have opportunities, Trailer said. So being able to do that with trucking, I was able to partner with others, hire employees, and give them a platform that empowers them. And then here's how Trailer built it in a $1 million trucking company in 1 year, and how she started from literally zero. She said she didn't need much capital to start her brokerage, which she said had literally zero cash and was about 3 months behind on her bills. To get her business off the ground, she picked up freelance gigs, delivering shingles, glass windows, and Amazon packages in her truck. I was at a breaking point, thinking that maybe I just need to get back into the job world, she said, and that's when we started excelling. She formed relationships with a leasing company to get more trucks, which helped her pivot to an asset-based business or a company that owns its own equipment. Once she was ready to hire employees, she advertised on Facebook and waited for candidates to apply. At that time, I didn't really even know how to hire or interview people. She said, I was simultaneously digging into that subject and constantly educating myself to build this item. Her first hire helped her get her first shipper, which gave her the capacity to take on an aluminum supplier. Today, it's her biggest account. Trailer Transpo now has 7 employees, 4 of whom are drivers, and the company also works with about 50 contracted owner-operators or truck drivers that lease or own them trucks themselves, and then they hold daily driver meetings and everything else. And then one of the keys to her company's success has been implementing technology to connect her team, track shipments, and manage orders. Becoming a trusted ally in a difficult field. In the past 2 years, obviously there's been a lot of ups and downs, lots of ups and lots of downs from everything that was out there. Last year was a boom in all these small carriers and owner operators, and it was a great market to be a carrier, Trailer said. This year, we're on the flip side of that market, and it's a broker customer market. So today, freight can be difficult to find, and fuel prices have skyrocketed. And then she's talking about the higher costs. And because of those challenges, it's been imperative to support her drivers. We had to assist a lot of these carriers to directly pay them or give them fuel advances to even be able to haul these loads. That's where good relationships come in. And then Yet Trailer encourages anyone interested in starting a trucking business not to be dissuaded by the market. Supply chain is such an ever-changing market that there is no right time necessarily. I love this. All right. Like, I truly love this article because I wholeheartedly agree with what she's saying here at the end. There is no fucking right time to start a business. The right time is this second, today, or yesterday. Those are the right times to do it because, again, you can be dissuaded by the macro of fucking anything, right? It doesn't matter. Even when rates were sky high last year or 2 years ago for trucking companies and fucking people were making money, there's still a group of people who didn't go into business because they didn't want to take the risk. The risks are always going to be there in business, right? And like, I legitimately, I recorded like a 40-minute podcast that I'm going to be releasing out later this month, encompassing kind of my 3 years of being self-employed, talking about the ups and the downs of everything. Because like, I legitimately started my business fucking right at the beginning of COVID. That's when I started. Right? When everybody was saying, don't do it, wait it out, get a job, don't start a business right now. There's never a perfect time. And that's what I got from her stance in this article as well. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. There isn't a perfect time to start a business, but don't stop because a couple of people are telling you to not do it. Because if you really want to jump in head first and start a company and do your thing and be your own boss, fucking do it. Do it. Don't listen to any motherfucker who tells you you can't do it, because you can. You can definitely do it. If you put in the work, if you put in and educate yourself and everything else and be open to the fact that you don't know anything, because it's true. Even to this day, I fucking, the only thing I'm certain of is I don't know shit. And that's why I constantly read and I constantly educate myself. I invest in coaching and everything because of that, because I don't know everything. There's a lot to be learned. But I would say this, if there's one thing that's for certain that I found inside of entrepreneurship is if everybody's telling you to go to the left, fucking turn around and sprint right. Sprint to the right. That's the only thing I found that is a certain out there for being helpful, because a lot of people have opinions sitting on the sideline. And when you're in it, fucking do you and just sprint to the right in those instances. So that article is from MSN. 31-year-old woman started her own trucking business with no money and made 1.4 million 1 year later. It's a good read. I agree with her on that. Fucking start, go, make it work. All right. Next article we got is Transport Topics, ttnews.com. Representative Rick Larson's agenda includes truck parking and workforce. The top Democrat on the Transportation Committee in the U.S. House says parking and workforce concerns remain leading issues across the trucking sector. As the GOP-led Transportation and Infrastructure Panel proceeds with its consideration of a robust agenda, Representative Rick Larson intends to promote policies designed to improve freight operations nationwide. Dedicating attention to the trucking industry is central to that aim, pointing to legislation recently introduced in the chamber that would facilitate access to parking. And Larson expressed optimism about the chances to garner broad appeal on Capitol Hill. There's bipartisan support for it still in the House, and it's a very real issue. When you're driving across the country, you see trucks parked on the side of the road. It's because they need the rest, but they need to be able to do that in a safe place. So I think that from at least my community's perspective, there's bipartisan support for an investment in truck parking and long-haul truck parking. He continued, for years, the trucking industry has sounded the alarm about a lack of parking for the men and women operating trucks around the country. I would agree with that. Again, out of all of my friends that are drivers and all of them that come on this show, truck parking is a constant. Availability for it and everything else, it's a constant. Responding to calls, let me see out there, because we've talked about the $755 million in competitive grants out there. I don't think that's enough money in all reality. Like it seems like $700 million. Yes, it is a lot of money, but if you're talking about building out the infrastructure of adequate parking and everything else, I think that money's going to go quick. So hopefully they can funnel some other funds in this direction. And the ATA obviously endorses that. And then also they talked about the recruitment and retention of truck drivers and how that continues to dominate operations industry wide. They keep talking about I don't think there's a driver shortage at all. I think that there is definitely enough drivers. I just think that there's a massive retention issue in the industry. And they're also, so in this bill, specific to the workforce concerns, Larson proposed innovate modern approaches for connecting job seekers with industries and with opportunities in the freight sector. Changes in demographics necessitate updates such as recruitment. As he put it, every company should be looking at the new pool of people that are available to hire. Every union should, let's not go union. I'm sorry, I'm reading the article here. Every union should be looking at this new pool of people to be able to recruit for good union jobs. Obviously, the majority of trucking is non-union. For OTR, I know that there's some unions inside of the LTL world and everything else. And obviously, the unions are massive backers of the Democrats out there. Whatever you were doing 20 years ago, obviously isn't working. What we were doing 5 years ago wasn't working. And this is what we talk about on here a lot is it's like, what's important to me? I'm going to be 37. What's important to me as a 37-year-old is not important to a 47-year-old or a 57-year-old or the other direction as well. So it's like, where is that next generation of truck drivers? Where is that next generation of people that want to get in the industry? I know that there's concerns about lowering the age of interstate commerce to 18, as opposed to where it's currently at 21 to be able to cross state lines. Most states, if not all states, when you're 18 years old, you can get your CDL and drive intra-state. So I live here in Arizona. If I was 18, I could get a CDL and only drive inside of the state of Arizona. I just view it as, if you look at the state of California, for example, it's like 900 miles from top to bottom. If you can drive 900 miles in the state of California or 1,000 miles in the state of Texas, what's the difference between that 1,000-mile stretch and 1,000 miles going through a couple other states? I personally don't think that there is. I also feel like if you're old enough to serve this country at 18, you should be able to be old enough to cross state lines and also drink a beer at 18 years old. So that's just my personal opinion on this. So I think in tying all this together, what's important to an 18 to a 25-year-old, right? They're all over social media. There's a ton of drivers out there who have a massive social media following on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. And it's great following them, showing the realities of the road. And we need to get people excited about that. That's where that next generation of drivers are. And then Dan Deegan and then Lindsay Trent are with the next generation of trucking. Dan Deegan is a high school teacher out in Patterson, California. And they got the trucking simulator inside of the school and getting people excited about it in high school, which is great to see. Again, that's where all the opportunity is going to lie. I personally feel over the next 10 years is it's going to be back in the trades, whether it's in trucking, whether it's in construction, HVAC, whatever that looks like. Blue collar jobs are going to have the greatest opportunity. I personally think that is the fastest way to getting out of the lower class into a middle or a middle upper class job. And yearly earnings is going to be in there. I know a lot of wealthy mechanics. I know a lot of wealthy plumbers and stuff like that. And I think that's where the opportunity is going to be. So it's let's get these individuals excited about that. There's a ton of opportunity out there. So, again, it's a good article. It does address some key issues, which are out there, truck parking being one of them. And then we need to get more people excited about the industry. We also need to do a better job of retaining our current drivers inside of the industry. We only have a couple of minutes left, so I don't have time to get into all of that. But, if you talk to the concerns or talk to the drivers and you hear the concerns of them, having access to fucking food, right? Basic human shit that is out there. Not one of us would do that job for an extended period of time if we didn't have access to food, if we didn't have access to a shower, if we didn't have access to a lot of that shit. That's why this show and other shows out there who talk about these issues repeatedly, this is what is needed, because this stuff needs to reach our elected officials. It needs to reach the people in mass that's out there, because we're the ones who can make these changes, you guys, at the end of the day. We're the ones who can make these changes. We're the ones who are going to be that next generation of executives inside of transportation. You know, like, I'm sick of hearing the same stuff year after year after year about the driver concerns, and it's just nobody's doing anything about it, right? But I'm going to be a part of the change, and I know everybody who listens to this show is going to be a part of the change too, and it's going to be up to us to make sure this shit happens and continues to happen time and time again, because collectively, got to put the swords down, and we got to fight for the right to party. No, sorry, that's Beastie Boys. But we have to fight for the meaningful change that we're all searching for. So that article, you guys, was ttnews.com. Representative Rick Larson's agenda include truck parking and workforce. Malia, I appreciate you joining. I said I'm glad I tapped in this morning. We're not going to have time to break down the third article, but this is a good one to read. It was from fleetowner.com, and it was talking about how NFL QB's highway death puts trucking maintenance on trial. I'm sure we all heard about former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Dwayne Haskins was struck and killed by a dump truck while walking across the Fort Lauderdale freeway. Now, I do want to preface this saying that Dwayne Haskins was intoxicated at that time. But the thing is the truck that hit him, and I'm not passing blame. I'm just reading what this case is. And part of it, I'm not formulating any opinions on it. But there was some, that the driver was going over the speed limit, carrying excessive weight, and had brake system problems, and was traveling on low tread tires with separated sidewalls. And they was talking about the inspections that this truck went through that should have put it out of service, but it wasn't. So there, again, like, there's a lot of stuff. And I brought this one up because of the, if you're a trucking company out there, about like how this is going. Like, I think, like, from a legal perspective, we all see the nuclear verdicts coming out. We all see the situations that are coming. And a lot of this stuff is, shit's going to happen, right? Like, I'm never going to sit up here and try and say, like, oh, it's all sunshine and gumdrops out there in the real world. Shit happens, right? But, like, some of this stuff is preventable. And that's what they were talking about in this article about the maintenance record on this vehicle specific, and how it was documented about what should have been fixed but wouldn't. Again, I know that there was alcohol involved and everything else, and I'm not here to say who's right or who's wrong, but it's examples like this that you see where it helps you look at your operation and really say, what can I do differently? How can I be protected if this was my business? And I think that a lot of owner ops, business owners, entrepreneurs, everybody out there, you need to take inventory of how your operation runs every single day, so you can look and be like, all right, how do we get better? It's got to be that constant pursuit of how do we improve as a business. And it's a tough article to read, because obviously there's a loss of human life and everything else that was going on out there. But it's, again, looking at it from what can you do to protect your business. I think there's a lot of valuable information in there. So that's kind of my brief summary of this one from fleetowner.com. Talking about NFL QB's highway death puts trucking maintenance on trial. But that is going to be it for today, you guys. We'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, the Freight Coach Morning Show. We are the top podcast in transportation coming to you guys. And as always, if you guys saw value, subscribe and share the show. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.